The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. For Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. And Judas begat Pharez, and Zamar, and Thamar. And Pharez begat Esrom, and Esrom begat Aram, and Aram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Naasson, and Naasson begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz of Rechab, and Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse. And Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her that had been the wife of Urias. Solomon begat Rehoboam, and Rehoboam begat Abiah, and Abiah begat Asa, and Asa begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Ozias, and Ozias begat Jotham, and Jotham begat Ashaz, and Ashaz begat Ezekias, and Ezekias begat Manasseh, Manasseh begat Amon, and Amon begat Josias, and Josias begat Jeconias and his brethren about the time they were carried away to Babylon. If they were brought to Babylon, Jeconias begat Saliathel, and Saliathel begat Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel begat Abuad, and Abuad begat Eliakim, and Eliakim begat Azor, and Azor begat Sadak, and Sadak begat Achim, Achim begat Eluid, and Eluid begat Eleazar, and Eleazar begat Mathan, and Mathan begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who was called Christ. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David unto the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Christ are 14 generations. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. While he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife. That which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. She shall bring forth a son, and shall be called his name Jesus, who shall save his people from their sins. And all this was done, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, the virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, which interpreted is God with us. And Joseph, being raised from sheep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden, and it took unto him his wife. And knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. Part 2. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born, King of the Jews? For I have seen a star in the east, and I come to worship him. And when Herod the king heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And he gathered together all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, and he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea. For thus is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not thou the least among the princes of Judah? For out of thee shall come a governor, that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently for the young child. And when he had found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. And when they heard that the king, they departed, and lo, the star when they saw in the east went before him, till it came and stood over where the young child was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. When they were coming to the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there unto the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I have called my son. And Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise man, was exceedingly wroth, and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently acquired of the wise men. And was fulfilled that was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and a great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and will not be comforted, because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the child's life. Then he rose, took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go hither notwithstanding. Being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee. And he came and dwelt in the city which is called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. He shall be called a Nazarene. Part 3. In those days came John the Baptist, preaching in the wilderness of Judea, saying, Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel hair, and a leather girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. Then they went out to him to Jerusalem and all Judea, and all the regions round about Jordan, and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. When he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth, therefore, fruits meet for repentance. And think not to say within yourselves, We have Abraham for our father. For I say unto you, God is able to take these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. Now also the axe is laid in the root of the trees. Therefore every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast to the fire. For I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance. But he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost, with fire, whose fan is in his hand, and with 30 purge his floor, and gather his wheat into the garner, and he will burn up the chaff with a quenchable fire. They come with Jesus from Galilee to Jordan unto John, to be baptized of him. But John forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee. Comest thou to me? Jesus answered, said, Suffer it to be so now. For thus is becoming us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he suffered him. And Jesus, when he was baptized, he went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove, and lighting upon him. And a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, whom I am well pleased. Part 4. Then was Jesus led up of the spirits of the wilderness, to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward an hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And the devil taketh him up into the holy city, set him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And again the devil taketh him up into an exceedingly high mountain, and sheweth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. Saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. And Jesus said unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only thou shalt serve. And the devil left him. Behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Now Jesus had heard that John was cast into prison, and he departed to Galilee. Leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the seacoast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali. Then was fulfilled which is spoken of by Isaiah the prophet, saying, The land of Zebulun, the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and Galilee of the Gentiles. The people which sat in darkness saw great light. To them which sat in the region, in the shadow of death, light is sprung up. For that time Jesus began to preach, and to say, Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Jesus, walking by the sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. He said unto them, Follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. And they straightforward left their nets and followed him. And going on thence, he saw other two brethren, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, and a ship with Zebedee their father, mending their nets. And he called them. And they immediately left their ship and their father and followed him. And Jesus went all about Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people. And his fame went throughout all Syria. And they brought him into all sick people that were taken with diverse diseases and torments, and that were possessed with devils, and those that were lunatic, and those that had palsy, and he healed them. And they followed him great multitudes of the people from Galilee, from Decapolis, from Jerusalem, and from Judea, and from Jordan. Part 5. And he seeing the multitudes who went up into the mountain, when he sat down, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. And blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you, persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Rejoice, and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted they the prophets which were before you. We are the salt of the earth. But if the salt hath lost its savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is henceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out, to be trodden under the foot of men. But ye are the light of the world. A city that is on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and to give it light to all that there are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments, shall teach men so, shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall teach and do them, same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you that except your righteousness so exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that was said of old time, Thou shalt not kill. And whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. Whoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, or Reka, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. And agree with thine adversaries quickly, while thou art in the way with them, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou shalt be cast into prison. But verily I say unto you, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. You have heard that it was said of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath already committed adultery with her in his heart. But if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, not thy whole body should be cast into hell. If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, not thy whole body should be cast into hell. And it hath been said, Whoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whoever shall putteth away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committeth adultery. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said of them of old time, Thou shalt forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, neither by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by thine head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. Let your communication be yea, yea, or nay, nay. Whatsoever is more than this cometh of evil. You have heard that it has been said of old, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I say unto you, that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. If any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy cloak, let him have thy cloak also. And whoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh of thee, and them that would borrow of thee turn not thou away. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thine enemy. I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them which curse you, and do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you, and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh the sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even publicans so? Be therefore perfect, as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Part 6. And take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have the reward. When thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand is doing, that thine alms may be in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. And when thou prayest, shall not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. But I say unto you, they have the reward. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet. When thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. And when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as heathens do, for they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forget our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and power and glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. And if you forget not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. For I say unto you, they have the reward. If thou wilt not fast, anoint thine head, and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but to thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do corrupt, where thieves break in through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break in nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will be your heart also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore that eye be single, the whole body should be full of light. But if that eye be evil, the whole body should be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for you either hate the one or love the other, or else you will hold to the one and despise the other, and cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, we shall eat, we shall drink, nor for your body, we shall put on. Is not life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, they sow not, neither they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are you not much more better than they? Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither they spin. Yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Therefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he much not clothe you? Ye have little faith. Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or withal shall we be clothed? For after all these things the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for tomorrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. For sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Verse 7. Judge not, ye not be judged. For the judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And the measure ye mete, it's measured to you again. And why beholdest thou mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considereth not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or thou wilt say to thy brother, here, let me pull out the mote of thine eye. Behold, a beam is in thine own eye. The hypocrite, first cast the beam that is in thine own eye, and shall see clearly to cast out the mote that is in thy brother's eye. And give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. Ask, it shall be given you. Seek, ye shall find. Knock, it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and him that knocketh it shall be opened. What man is there of you whom his son asks bread, will give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that go therein. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. And beware of false prophets, which come to you with sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by your fruits ye shall know them. And not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. He that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say of me on that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? In thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wondrous works. Then I'll profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, that work iniquity. Therefore whoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I liken him unto a wise man, and put this house upon a rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be like unto a foolish man, who built his house upon the sand. The rain descended, and the floods came, the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority, not as the scribes. Part 8. And he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper, worshipped, saying, Lord, if thou canst make me clean. Jesus put forth his hands, touched him, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus saith unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, and shew thyself unto the priests, and offer the gift that Moses commanded, for a testimony unto them. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy, and thou shouldest come under my roof. But speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. I say unto this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. But when Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and the west, and shall sit down with Abraham, and Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness, shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, as thou hast believed, so shall it be done for thee. And his servant was healed in that same hour. And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever, and touched her hand, and the fever left her. And she arose and ministered unto them. And when the evening was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils. And he cast out the spirit with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. And when Jesus saw the great multitudes about him, he commanded to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee wheresoever thou goest. Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head. Another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. And Jesus said unto him, Follow me, let the dead bury their dead. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch as that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. I say to them, Why are you fearful? Ye have little faith. And he arose, rebuked the winds of the sea, and its great calm. And the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? And when he was come to the other side into the country of Gergesenes, there met him 2 possessed men with devils, coming out of tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. Behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off of them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us off, suffer us to go away to the herd of swine. They said unto them, Go. When they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. Behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their way into the city, and told everything which was befallen to the possessed of the devils. Behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coasts. Part 9. And he entered into a ship, passed over, and came to his own city. Behold, they brought him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Jesus, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, thy sins be forgiven. And behold, certain of the scribes said unto themselves, This man blasphemeth. Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Wherefore you think evil in your hearts? For whether it is easier to say, Thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, Arise and walk? But ye they may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Then saith he to the sick of the palsy, Arise, take up thy bed, and go into thine house. And he arose and departed to his house. When the multitude saw it, they marveled, and glorified God, which had given such power to men. And as Jesus passed from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, Follow me. And he rose and followed him. It came to pass, as Jesus sat at meat in his house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, Why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? And Jesus heard that, and he said to them, They that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go ye and learn what that meaneth. For I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Then came to him disciples of John, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast, the disciples fast not? And Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn, as long as the bridegroom is with them? For the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then they shall fast. For no man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment, but that which is put in to fill it up taketh from the garment, and rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler, and worshipping him, saying, My daughter is even now dead. Come and lay thine hand upon her, that she shall live. Jesus arose and followed him, so did his disciples. Behold, a woman which was diseased of the issue of blood 12 years, came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. And Jesus turned him about when he saw her, said, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. The woman was made whole from that same hour. And when Jesus came into the ruler's house, and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in, and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. And the fame hereof went abroad into all the land. And when Jesus departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying, saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, saying, Jesus saith unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? And they said, Yea, Lord. And he touched their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it unto you. And their eyes were open. And Jesus straightly charged them, saying, See that no man know it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame to all the country. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake. And the multitudes marveled, saying, Was never so seen in Israel. And the Pharisees said, He casteth out devils through the prince of the devils. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues, and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted, and were scattered abroad, as sheep having no shepherd. Then saith he unto his disciples, The harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Part 10. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. The names of the 12 apostles are these: the first, Simon, who was called Peter; Andrew, his brother; James, the son of Zebedee; John, his brother; Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, and Matthew the publican; James, the son of Alphaeus; and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus; Simon the Canaanite; and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus set forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, into any city These 12 Jesus set forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, or into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go ye rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. But provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass for your purses, nor scrip for your journey, neither 2 coats, neither shoes, nor staves, for the workman is worthy of his meat. Into whatever city or town you shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till you go thence. When you come into an house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. And if it not be worthy, let your peace return to you. Whoever shall receive you, whoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. For I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I sent you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in the synagogues, when you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak, but shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. For it is not that ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. The brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and father the child. The children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. He shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. Verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If ye have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. For what I tell you in darkness, speak in the light. And what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father? The very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, for you are more valuable than many sparrows. Whoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess before my Father which is in heaven. Whoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. And think not that I have come to send peace on the earth. For I have not come to send peace, but a sword. I have come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. He that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. He that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. He that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water, only in the name of a disciple, very I say unto him, he shall in no wise lose his reward. Part 11. And it came to pass when Jesus made an end of the commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. And when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto them, I thought he that should come, or should we look for another? Jesus answered and said unto them, Go, shew John again those things which ye do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. Blessed be he who shall not be offended in me. And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, What went ye out in the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what ye went out for to see? A man clothed with soft raiment? Behold, them that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what ye went out for to see? A prophet? I say unto you, more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I sent my messengers before thy face, and shall prepare thy way before thee. But I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied unto John. And if you'll receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that hath ears, let him hear. Whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows, saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. But John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, He hath a devil. But the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold the man gluttonous, a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children. Then began he to upbraid the city wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. He said, Woe unto you, Chorazin, and woe unto thee, Bethsaida. For if the mighty works were done in you, that had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. And now Capernaum, which are exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. If the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. But I say unto you, that it should be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. But I say unto you, at that time Jesus answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me by my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. So come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give thee rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. Ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And at that time Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and the disciples were an hungered, and began to pluck the ears of corn and eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto, Behold, the disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. But he said unto them, Have you not read what David did when he was an hungered, and they were with him? How he entered into the house of God, and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them that were with him, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in the law how on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath, and are blameless? But I say unto you, that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day. When he was departed thence, he went into the synagogue, saying, There was a man which had his hand withered, and they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? That they might accuse him. And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on a Sabbath day, will not lay hold on it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Therefore is it lawful to do well on the Sabbath? Then saith he to the man, Stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it forth, and it was restored like the other. And the Pharisees went out and held a council against him, how they might destroy him. And Jesus knew it, and he withdrew himself from thence. The great multitudes followed him, and healed them all. And he charged them that they should not make him known, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Behold my servant, whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him, and will shew judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not strive, nor cry, neither shall any man hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed shall he not break, and a smoking flax shall he not quench, till he send forth judgment unto victory. And in his name shall the Gentiles trust. Then was brought unto him one possessed with the devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, insomuch that the blind and dumb both spake and saw. All people were amazed, said, This is not the son of David. And when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This fellow does not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. And Jesus knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And if by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, and the kingdom of God is come unto you, or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods? Except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. He that is not with me is against me. He that gathereth not me is scattered abroad. Wherefore I say to you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men, but the blasphemy against the Holy Ghost shall not be forgiven unto men. And whosoever speaketh a word against the Son of Man shall be forgiven. But whoever speaketh against the Holy Ghost, it shall not be forgiven, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. Either make the tree good, and its fruits, or else make the tree corrupt, and its fruit corrupt. The tree is known by this fruit. Ye generation of vipers, how can ye being evil speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. For a good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth good things, and the evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Then certain of the scribes and the Pharisees answered, saying, Master, we would see a sign from thee. But he answered to them, An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. There shall no sign be given it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. For the men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonas. Behold, the greater than Jonas is here. And the queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, the greater than Solomon is here. For when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return unto mine house from whence I came out. When he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he, and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. The last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be unto this wicked generation. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered, said unto him, Who is my mother, and who are my brother? He stretched forth his hands unto his disciples, and said, Behold my mother and my brother. Whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother, sister, or mother. Part 13. And the same day Jesus went out of his house and sat by the seaside. And And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into the ship and sat. And the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, the sower went forth to sow. When he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, because they had no root, and they withered away. Some fell among thorns, the thorns sprung up and choked them. Others fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. With ears to hear, let him hear. The disciples came and said unto him, Why speaketh unto them in parables? He said, Well, it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them is not given. Whosoever hath, to him it shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, for him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And then they must fulfill the prophecy of Isaiah, saying, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and for your ears, for they hear. Verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men had desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye for the parable of the sower. When any man heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, there cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that was sown in his heart. This is he which received the seed by the way. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and not with joy, and receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. And when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. Also, he that receiveth seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and that the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understand it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable put he forth of them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. And when the blades had sprung up, it brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, let's not sow good seed in thy field, from whence then hath it tares? He said unto him, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou that we go and gather them up? And he said, Nay. That's why we gather up the tares, we tear up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Go, ye gather first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air cometh and lodge on the branches thereof. Another parable spake he unto them, The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. And these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I opened my mouth in parables, and I will utter things which I have been kept secret from the foundations of the world. And Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He said to them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. The tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire. So shall it be at the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, shall cast them to a furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. With ears to hear, let them hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man found, he hideth, and for joy thereof he gathereth and sell all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he hath and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea, and gathered every kind. And when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth, and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Jesus said, Have you understood all these things that they say unto him? And say, Yea, Lord. And then say he unto them, Therefore, every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these parables, he departed. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogues, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, Whence has this man's wisdom and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son, and his mother called Mary, and his brethren James, Joseph, and Simon, and Judas, and his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence hath this man all these things? They were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country, and his own house. And he did not many works there because of their unbelief. Part 14. In that time Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist, is he risen from the dead? Therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me here John the Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. And they sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger, and given to the damsel. She brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by the ship into a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages, and buy themselves victuals. Jesus said unto them, They need not depart, give ye them to eat. And they said unto him, I have here but 5 loaves, 2 fishes, so bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves, and 2 fishes. Looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake. He gave the loaves to his disciple, and the disciples to the multitude. They did all eat, were filled. They took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And then they had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. When he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. When evening was arose, he was there alone. The ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with the waves, for the wind was contrary. And at the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is the Spirit, and they cried out for fear. And straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come up unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And then Peter was to come down out of the ship, and he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? When they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. And they were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a true, thou art the Son of God. When they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of the place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all the country about him, and brought unto him all that were diseased. They besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, as long as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Part 15. I came Jesus to the scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. And he commanded and said unto them, Why do you also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? For God commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that cursed father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, Whoever shall say to his father or his mother is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, and honoureth not his father or mother, he shall be free, lest he have made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. Ye hypocrites, the Isaiah prophesied of you, saying, This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoureth me, and honoureth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching the doctrines, the commandments of men. And he called the multitudes and said unto them, Hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth is the stuff defileth a man. And he came his disciples and said to him, Knoweth not that the Pharisees were offended after they heard the saying? And he answered and said, Every plant which my heavenly Father planted which my heavenly Father hath not planted, to be rooted up. Let them alone, the blind guides. They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, they shall fall into the ditch. Then answered Peter and said unto them, Declare unto us this parable. And Jesus said, Are ye also yet without understanding? Not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly, and is cast out into the draught? But those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. And Jesus went thence and departed to the coast of Tyre and Sidon. Behold, a Canaanite woman came out of the same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. And he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to the dogs. She said, In truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master's table. And Jesus answered and said unto her, Woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. And Jesus departed from thence and came nigh unto the sea of Galilee, went up into a mountain, and sat down there. And the great multitude came unto him, having with him those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others. Cast them down at Jesus' feet and healed them. And so much that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, and the maimed to be whole, the lame to walk, and the blind to see. And they glorified the God of Israel. And Jesus called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now 3 days, and have nothing to eat. And I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. The disciples say unto him once, Should we have so much bread in the wilderness, as to fill so great a multitude? He said unto them, How many loaves have ye? And they said, 7. There's a few little fishes. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves and the fishes, gave thanks to break them, gave it to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. They did all eat, were filled. They took up of the broken meat that was left 7 baskets full. And they did eat, were 4,000 men, beside women and children. And he sent away the multitude, and took ship, and came into the coast of Magdala. Part 16. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would shew them a sign from heaven. Answered said, When it's evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red, and lowering. Hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the sign of the times. For a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. No sign shall be given to it, but the sign of Jonas. And he left them and departed. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Jesus said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. For they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. Which when Jesus perceived, he said unto them, O ye little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have bread, ye have bought no bread? Do you not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves, the 5,000, how many baskets he took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets he took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread? They should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then understand they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And when Jesus came to the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? They said, Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some say Elias, others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered, said, Thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. For I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever shall be loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Whatever shall be loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then charged he his disciples that he should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem, and suffer many things of the elders, and the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the 3rd day. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, it shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan, for thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. And said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Whosoever will save his life shall lose it. Whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited, if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then shall he reward every man according to his works. For verily I say unto you, there be some standing here who shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Part 17. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter and James and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, His raiment was white as a light. Behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Then answered Peter, I said unto Jesus, Lord, is it good for us to be here? If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, so afraid. Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise, be not thou afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And they came down from the mountain, and Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, till the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already. They knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall the Son of Man suffer of them. The disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. But when they were come to the mountain, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son. He is a lunatic and sore vexed. And oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. And Jesus answered, said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. Jesus rebuked the devil, and departed out of him. The child was cured from the very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus and said, Why could not we cast him out? Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. Verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and shall remove. Nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. While they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men. They shall kill him, and the 3rd day shall be raised again. They were exceedingly sorry. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, Doth not your master pay tribute? He said, Yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? Peter saith unto him, Strangers. Jesus said to him, Then are the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, cast in a hook, take up the fish that first cometh up, and when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take, and give unto them for me and thee. Part 18. At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Jesus called the little child to them, and set him in the midst of them. So verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as the little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Who shall receive one such little child, that my name receiveth me? But who shall offend one of these little children which believe in me? It would be better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, than who were drowned in the depths of the sea. For woe unto the world because of offences. For it must needs be that offences come, but woe to that man by whom the offence cometh. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off, and cast them from thee. And it's better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands, 2 feet to cast in everlasting fire. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, cast it from thee. For it's better thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast in the hellfire. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. For how think ye, that if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? If so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is heaven, It is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. If he will not hear thee, take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let it be unto thee as an heathen man or publican. Verily I say unto you, whosoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say unto you, that if 2 of you agree on earth, as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. I came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee unto 7 times, but 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. When he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded to him to be sold, and his wife and his children, and all that he had, the payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out, and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence, and laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. But he would not. But he went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when the fellow servants saw that what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told their Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after he had called him, had said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest me. Shouldest not thou also have compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors. They should pay that all was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother that trespasses. Part 19. And it came to pass, when Jesus had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee to the coast of Judea beyond Jordan. And great multitudes followed him and healed them there. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto him, Have you not read that he which was made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. Therefore what God hath joined together, and let no man put asunder. And they said unto him, Did Moses then command? And he said unto them, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? He saith to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. I say unto whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And who marrieth her that is put away, doth commit adultery. His disciples said unto him, Is the cause of the man, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. But he said, All men cannot receive the saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which are born from the mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which are made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive, let him receive it. Then were they brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them, and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. And Jesus said, Suffer little children, forbid them not, but to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands on them, and departed thence. Behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? He said unto him, Why callest me good? There is not good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. He said, Which ones? Jesus said, Thou shalt do no murder, Thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man saith unto him, All these things I have kept from my youth up, what do I lack? Jesus said to him, If thou be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give it to the poor, and shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. When the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. Again I say unto you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter in the kingdom of God. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed and said, Who then can be saved? But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, With men this is impossible, with God all things are possible. And answered Peter and said, Behold, we have forsaken all, and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? He said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, he shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that hath forsaken his houses, or brethren, or sisters, or fathers, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and last shall be first. 20. About 20. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers in his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into the vineyard. And when he went out about the 3rd hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. And when he about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. And the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idly, and saith unto them, Why stand here all day idle? They said unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers, give them their hire, beginning from the last to the first. When they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more. And they likewise received every man a penny. When they have received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and the heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Dost not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that as thine, and go thy way. And I will give unto this last, even as unto thee. But is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is thine eye evil, because I am good? So the last shall be first, the first shall be last. For many will be called, but few are chosen. For Jesus, going up to Jerusalem, took the 12 disciples apart in the way, and said unto them, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man shall be betrayed unto the chief priests and unto the scribes. They shall condemn him to death, shall deliver him to the Gentiles to mock, to scourge, and to crucify him, and the 3rd day shall rise again. And came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshipping him, and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, What wilt thou? She saith unto him, Grant thee these my 2 sons may sit, the one at thy right hand, and the other on thy left, in thy kingdom. Jesus answered and said, Ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? They said to him, We are able. He said unto them, Ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with my baptism that I am baptized with, but to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. For when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the 2 brethren. But Jesus called them unto him, and said, Ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be a minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many. And as they departed from Jericho, a great multitude followed him. And behold, 2 blind men sitting by the wayside. when they heard that Jesus passed by, cried out, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou Son of David. The multitude rebuked them, because they should hold their peace. But they cried more, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou Son of David. But Jesus stood still and called them and said, What will ye that I shall do unto you? They said to him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. So Jesus had compassion on them and touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him. Verse 21. And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem, they were come into Bethphage, unto the Mount of Olives, and sent Jesus 2 disciples, saying unto them, Go into the village over against you, and straightway ye shall find an ass tied, and a colt with it. Loose them, and bring them unto me. If any man say aught unto you, you shall say, The Lord hath need of them, and straightway he will send them. And this was done, and it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, Tell ye the daughter of Zion, Behold, the king cometh unto thee meek, sitting upon an ass, and a colt, the foal of an ass. And the disciples went and did as Jesus commanded, and brought the ass and the colt, and put them on their clothes. And they sat him thereon. And a very great multitude spread their garments in the way, and others cut down branches from the trees, and strawed them in the way. And the multitude that went before, that followed, cried, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord, Hosanna in the highest. And when he was come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, Who is this? And the multitude said, This is Jesus, the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. And Jesus went into the temple of God, and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers, and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, As written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and healed them. And when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful thing that he did, the children crying in the temple, and saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were sore displeased. And I said unto him, Hearest thou what these say? Jesus said to them, Ye, have ye never read, Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise? And he left them, and went out of the city into Bethany, and lodged there. Now in the morning, as he returned to the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it, and found nothing thereon, but leaves only. He said unto it, Let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How soon is the fig tree withered away? Jesus answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do that which is done to the fig tree, but if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things whatsoever ye shall ask of prayer, believing, ye shall receive. And he was come into the temple. The chief priests and the elders of the people came unto him as he was teaching, and said, By what authority dost thou do these things? And who gave thee this authority? And Jesus answered and said unto them, I will also ask you one thing, which if you tell me, I in likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things. For the baptism of John, whence was it, from heaven or of men? And they reasoned with themselves, saying, If we shall say from heaven, he will say unto us, Why did ye not then believe him? But if ye shall say of men, we fear the people, for all hold John as a prophet. And they answered Jesus and said, We cannot tell. He said unto them, Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. But what think ye? A certain man had 2 sons. And he came to the first and said, Son, go work today in my vineyard. And he answered and said, I will not. But afterwards he repented and went. And he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered, I go, and went not. Whether of them twain did the will of the Father? They said unto him first. Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom of heaven before you. For John came unto you in the way of righteousness, and ye believed him not. But the publicans and harlots believed him. And ye, when ye have seen it, repented not afterwards, that ye might believe him. Hear another parable. There was a certain householder, which planted a vineyard, and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandman, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But the last of all he sent unto him his son, saying, They will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, This is their heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? They said unto him, He will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyards unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their season. Jesus said unto them, Did you never read the scripture? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore I say unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. Whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, and whomsoever it shall fall will grind to powder. When the chief priests and Pharisees heard this parable, they perceived that he spake of them. But when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude, because they took him for a prophet. Part 22. And Jesus answered and spake unto them by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. And he sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Again he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatling are killed, and all things are ready. Go unto the marriage. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and sent forth his armies, and destroyed those murderers, and burnt up their city. Then he saith to his servants, The wedding is ready, they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, as many as ye shall find, bid them to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways, and gathered together as many as they found, both good and bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not a wedding garment. And he saith unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither, not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. And the king then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and cast him into the outer darkness, which be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then went the Pharisees, and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And they went out unto him, their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and thou teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man. Thou regardest not the person of men. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness, and said, Why ye tempt me, hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought him a penny. He said, Whose is this image and superscription? They said unto him, Caesar's. And saith he unto them, Render therefore to Caesar's the things which are Caesar's, and to God things that are God's. Then when they had heard these words, they marveled, and left him, and went their way. The same day they came to the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked them, Master, Moses said, If a man die, having no children, and his brother marry his wife, his brother shall marry his wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brothers. The first, when he had married a wife deceased, and having no issue his life, left his wife unto his brother. Likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman dieth also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7, where they all had her? Jesus answered and said to him, Ye do err, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but as the angels of God in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, God of Jacob? God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. But when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. But when the Pharisees had heard this, that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. And one of them, saying, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God, with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They said unto him, The son of David. He said unto them, How then doth David in spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou in my right hand, till I make thine enemies thy footstool. If David called him Lord, how was he his son? No man was ever to answer him a word, neither durst any man from that day forth ask him any more questions. Part 23. Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. Therefore, whatsoever they bid you to observe, that observe and do. But do not after their works, for they say and they do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders. But they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, enlarge the borders of their garments. They love the uppermost rooms at feast, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and the greetings in the marketplace, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But you are not to be called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brothers. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. Whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. He that shall humble himself shall be exalted. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you have shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye that them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore you shall receive the greater damnation. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you compass sea and land, to make one proselyte. When he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Woe unto you, blind guides, which say, Whosoever shall swear by the temple is nothing. Whosoever swear by the gold of the temple is a debtor. Fools and blind, what is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifieth the gold? Whosoever shall swear by the altar is nothing. But whoever sweareth by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. You fools and blind, whether is greater, the gift or the... But when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box, a very precious ointment, and they poured it on his head as he sat at meat. And when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? This ointment might have been sold for much, given to the poor. But Jesus understood it, and he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? She hath wrought a great work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. For I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, What will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted for him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. On the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepared for thee to eat the Passover? He said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, This master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at that house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them. And they made ready the Passover. And when the evening was come, he sat down with the 12. As they did, said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceedingly sorrowful. Began everyone to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he said unto them, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. For the Son of Man goeth as is written of him. Woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. And Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, said I. He said unto him, Thou hast said. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it, and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body. He took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink, eat all of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. When they had sung a hymn, they went out into Mount of Olives. And saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into the Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet I will never be offended. Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, this night before the cock crow, shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said that all the disciples. And came with Jesus then unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. And he said unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry here and watch with me. For he went a little farther, fell on his face, and prayed, and saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What? Did ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. For the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And he went away again the second time, and prayed, saying, My Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, that will be done. Then he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, and went away, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at the hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, Whomsoever shall kiss, the same as he, hold him fast. And onceforth he came to Jesus, and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? And came they, and laid hand on Jesus, and took him. Behold, one of them which were with Jesus stretched out his hand, drew a sword, struck his servant of the high priest, smote off his ear. And Jesus said unto him, Put up against thy sword into its place. But all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father? He shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels. But how then shall the scripture be fulfilled, that thus it must be? And in that same hour saith Jesus to the multitude, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with your teaching in your temple, and ye laid no hold on me. But all this was done, and the scriptures of the prophets will be fulfilled. All the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him far off unto the high priest's palace, and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. And the chief priests and the elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet they found none. At the last came 2 false witnesses, and said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and be built in 3 days. The high priest arose and said unto him, Answer thou nothing? What is it which these witnesses against thee? But Jesus held his peace. The high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by living God, that thou tell us whether thou be the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said unto him, Thou hast said. Nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. And the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now ye have heard this blasphemy. What think ye? They answered and said, He is guilty of death. They did spit in his face, buffeted him, others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy unto us, thou Christ, who is he that smote thee? Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were with him, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know him. After a while he came unto him that stood by, and said, Peter, surely thou art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. And he began to curse and swear, saying, I'm not the man. Immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of God, which Jesus said to him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. 27. When the morning was come, and all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel again against Jesus to put him to death, when they had bound him, led him away, and delivered him to Pontius Pilate the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned, that I have betrayed innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple, and departed, and went and hanged himself. And the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them in the treasury, because this is the price of blood. So they took counsel, and bought with them the potter's field, to bury strangers, and wherefore a field was called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, and the price of him that was valued, whom of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord had appointed me. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the king of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and the elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? And he answered him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Now at the feast the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner whom they would, and they had a notable prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you, Barabbas, or Jesus which is called Christ? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and to destroy Jesus. And the governor answered and said, Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus which is called Christ? They all said unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? They cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to do it. And answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and our children. And then released he Barabbas unto them. And when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. And the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall, and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. And they stripped him, and put on him a scarlet robe. When they had plaited a crown of thorns, put it on his head, and as a reed in his right hand. They bowed the knee before him, and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews. They spit upon him, and took the reed, and smote him on the head with the reed. After they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him, and put his own raiment on him, and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. When he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, and parted his garment, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there. And set up over his head his accusation written, This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. And there were two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand, the other on the left. They that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests mocking him, and the scribes and elders said, He saved others, and himself he cannot save. If he be King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now. He will save him, for he said, I am the Son of God. And thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, This man called for Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with vinegar, put it on a reed, and gave him to drink. The rest said, Let it be. Let's see whether Elias will come to save him. He said, when he had cried again with a loud voice, he yielded up the ghost. Behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, from the top and the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were opened. Many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the grave after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. And when the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly this was the Son of God. Many women, which were beholding afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministered unto him, among which was Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and the mother of Zebedee's children. And when even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also was Jesus' disciple. And he went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. And Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre, and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene, and the other Mary, sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, remember that the deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will arise. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure unto the third day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, he is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, Ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as you can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. About 28. On the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Behold, there was a great earthquake, from the angel of the Lord descended up from heaven, and came rolled back the stone from the door, sat upon it. And his countenance was like lightning, and his raiment was white as snow. And for fear of him the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the woman, Fear ye not, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen. And he said, Come, see the place where the Lord lay. And go quickly, and tell the disciples that he is risen from the dead. Behold, he goeth before you unto Galilee, and there you shall see him. Lo, I have told you. And he departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail. And they came and held him by the feet, and worshipped him. Then said Jesus unto them, Be not afraid. Go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, that they shall see me. And when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and shewed unto the chief priests all things that were done. And when they were assembled unto the soldiers, and had taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers, saying, Say ye, the disciples came by night, and stole them away while we slept. And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and secure you. So they took the money, and did as they were taught. And this saying commonly reported among the Jews unto this day. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, like a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me, to heaven and on earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen.